Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Aaron Fort, and we are here for another writer's quote. But this is not just a writer's quote. It will, of course, be a part of the writer's quote playlist here on the channel. I believe we're getting close to 20 videos in that playlist, but it is also part of a two-channel event here in the month of September, because I'm turning 35. It's pretty ancient. Because I'm turning 35, I am doing a video per day, both here on Strip Cover Lit, as well as on my personal channel, to which there will be a comment linked in the comment section. You can just go down there and click on my face, and it'll take you over there. And you can click the subscribe button over there like you have here. You better have already hit the subscribe button here. But let's get into things. We've got a quote, this time straying from the norm, from Papa. Ernest Hemingway on writing, edited by Larry W. Phillips. I know. Hey, I'm looking for other sources. We will move on eventually, but we're probably going to come back occasionally. I will have other quotes for you. I am actually contemplating harvesting quotes that are not quote-unquote writer's quotes, or not quote-unquote on the craft of writing, and just sort of interpreting them for this realm of life. But this comes to us from page 85 of Ernest Hemingway on writing, from George Plimpton's interview, an interview with Ernest Hemingway as it appeared in the Paris Review on the 18th, or the Paris Review 18 of spring 1958. In 58, Hemingway would have been 59 and would have been already a legend. The interviewer asks, when you were writing, do you ever find yourself influenced by what you were reading at the time? And Hemingway replies, not since Joyce was writing Ulysses. His was not a direct influence, but in those days, when words we knew were barred to us, and we had to fight for a single word, the influence of his work was what changed everything and made it possible for us to break away from the restrictions. Not since Joyce was writing Ulysses. His was not a direct influence, but it was in those days when words we knew were barred to us and we had to fight for a single word. The influence of his work was what changed everything, and it made it possible for us to break away from restrictions. This makes me wonder, makes me ask, makes me contemplate, ruminate over whether or not the things that I read influence me at the time that I am writing. Undoubtedly, that is the case. So, does it help to set the table, as it were? What I find often happens to me is that in the midst of writing something, I yearn for an author in particular. On the longer work that I am writing right now, it appears it will be novella length. I'm going to try to beef it up to a novel length. It really makes me want to read Bret Easton Ellis. I don't know any short story writers that are Bret Easton Ellis-esque. I don't know any writers that are Bret Easton Ellis-esque, to be quite honest. I think that Bret Easton Ellis is, and this is being sidetracked, I think that Bret Easton Ellis is the greatest novelist of our day. Not my favorite, maybe not the best, but I think the greatest. And I think he is the greatest novelist of our day in the accuracy and depth of his literary vision. It is a shame he has not produced more novels, especially because they seem to come so easily to him. And that's not saying that they do, but they seem to. You know what's interesting? They say that, this is getting back to the quote, they say that we are the sum of the 5 people that we interact with most often. If you want to know someone, get to know their 5 best friends. Get to know the 5 people with whom they spend the most time. Surely there is some transcription of that into our writers' lives. If you want to know us, read the 5 artists which we read the most. And just in that same way, I do not want to be Stephenie Meyer. I'm not saying that she can't write. It's not my flavor. I don't want to be J.K. Rowling. Rowling, I don't care. I don't want to be those two. Should I censor them from my reading repertoire? To what extent do we do that? To what extent do we purposely and purposefully choose the writers who will be on our regimen? I am a proponent of, and the longer work that I'm working on right now, if I had planned it out, I would have most certainly been reading a Bret Easton Ellis novel along with this, because I believe very heavily in the practice. And I didn't get this from anywhere, so maybe this is bunk, maybe this is BS, maybe this is just Adrian being an idiot. I believe very heavily in having what I call a companion novel. That is, having a novel that you want to not emulate, not simulate, not copy, but there is a certain ness to each novel. The Old Man and the Sea ness. Ulysses ness. Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man ness. There is a ness to every novel. Fight Club ness. There is a ness to every novel. An ambiance that novel holds that speaks to you, and it speaks to you on a certain level, and it's somewhere between the wavelength at which the novel was written and your personal wavelength. Somewhere in between those two meet, and that becomes the way that novel nesses for you. I know this is real hippy-dippy, I know this is super trippy, but I believe it 100% wholeheartedly, despite the fact that I don't have the vocabulary to use towards it. So because of that, how much should we set the table, and how much should we leave to serendipity? Maybe there is something in this novel which would benefit greatly from reading a little bit of Shirley Jackson on the side. There would be some epiphany, some aha, some little morsel of serendipity waiting for me had I read more Shirley Jackson at the time. Maybe. So how much of it should we leave up to chance, and how much of it should we plan for? How much table setting should we do, and how much space is there left for dreaming afterwards? But I want to move on to another part of this quote. And that's the aspect that Hemingway states at the very end. We had to fight for words. We had to fight for things that we were going to have in these novels. We had to fight for things that we wanted to include. This was Ernest fucking Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway. I had to fight to use the word fuck in my novel. Ernest Hemingway. I fear very greatly that we were heading towards another age of censorship. That seems to be the way that things go. You swing hedonistic, you swing oppressive. Hedonistic, oppressive. It just depends on what's in style at the time. And I don't know. I don't know who among us would raise a fist. I don't. I don't know who would fight for things. I don't. Of the big names of the day, Bret Easton Ellis seems to have bowed out. He's not really writing all that much anymore. He seems more interested in the movie sides of things and the visual sides of things. George Saunders, the biggest of the big, no, he's not going to fight for things. I don't know who would you. That's where I'm going with this. Would you write something knowing that your entire career could be ended, but you felt that it needed to be said? I don't know that I would. I don't know that I could. How bad will this get? How bad does it get? I don't know. But I think that it is worth at least the contemplation. Worth the contemplation of saying, what is this art worth to me? Is the art worth more than the dream? What's the dream? What is your dream for writing? For me, I'd like to be able to own a very large house somewhere in the middle of Montana, where I have a turret from which I can shoot at bears. Bears are very scary. I don't want them around. That's the dream. Would I be willing to sacrifice that in order to keep the integrity of the art I'm writing? I don't know. I think it's a question worth asking. If you hit the like button, it really helps me out here on the channel. If you know writers that might benefit from a series such as this, again, like I say, there must be 20-something videos in the playlist at this time. I can't remember off the top of my head. Send them my way. Maybe share this with them. You are more than welcome on my other channel. Like I say, there will be a pinned comment in the comment section below. You can just click on my profile picture down there and it'll take you over to that channel. And I hope to see you moving forward, whether I'm doing writer's quotes, short story reviews, poetry discussions, novel read-alongs, novel reviews, any of these types of things. I hope to see you back.